Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. It is Friday, the 1st of August 2025. White Rabbits, happy new month, everyone. Well done for making it this far. So we've got in the chat, we've got Francis Winrow there with £2 super chat. Thank you very much. TFI Friday. Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for that, Francis. That's very kind of you. So also in the chat, we've got Diz, we've got Plum Duff, we've got Vendetta, we've got Paula Thomas in there as well, we've got Graham Haller, we've got Sarah Davis saying, hi Graham, hi Sarah, how you doing? If you'd like to join our friends in the chat, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button and wait for approximately 1 minute and you should be able to join the chat, but don't be a troll, because otherwise we will mute you and boot you. As I said, I'm Graham Hughes. You're watching Politics Social. I realise that is a little bit low. Let's move that up a bit. Getting it all right. I've got quite a squeaky chair. I've got quite a squeaky chair today. So please enjoy the squeaky chair. I'm going to be talking about Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about Donald Trump. I'd rather literally talk about anything else. I'd rather talk about like medical complaints. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm quite squeamish about stuff like that. I'd rather talk about Emily in Paris or Mrs. Brown's Boys or Anchorman. You know, I'd rather talk about something that I hate and other people like, and I don't really understand why they like it. But you know, you got to live and let live, I suppose. But I'd rather talk about anything else in the world apart from freaking Donald Trump. I wish we could just sort of ignore him, you know? Just ignore him. Just pretend that he's not there and he's not doing anything. But he's disrupting the world's economy. And the fallout from this is going to be absolutely massive. It already is huge in the way that it's changing the interactions between nations. And this is something that Trump is doing, and I think it's going to take an entire generation to fix. This is America's Brexit. This is America withdrawing from the world, saying that it doesn't want to buy things from other countries, saying that it wants to, you know, go its own way, forge its own path, and that way leads to, you know, it leads to absolute disaster. So yeah, Trump's wrecked the world. Well, he's on his way to wrecking the world economy again, at a time when we need more international cooperation than ever before, and we really need to be working together to fight climate change. Climate change, which is causing some horrific outcomes around the world, not least the wildfires that are raging at the moment in regions of Spain and Portugal and Albania. Europe has, in fact, found that it's the rate that it is getting hotter is double. It's double. It's twice that at the rest of the world. And you got to understand that, like, over 10,000 years ago, when we were still in an ice age, it was only 3 degrees cooler than it was at the start of the Industrial Revolution. It was only 3 degrees cooler. Like, if we go up 3 degrees, it might have similar devastating effects. Well, it will have devastating effects. We know this. Oh, no sound. Okay, hang on. I don't know what's happened there. I've got sound. Maybe turn your headphones on. I have sound. Yeah, got sound here. Yeah, sorry, Paula Thomas. Maybe turn your volume up. I did touch my microphone. Maybe that like set it off. It's a little cheap thing for taking with me. Chris C, welcome back, Graham. Have a tea on me. Oh, thank you very much, sir, for the £2 super chat. That is very kind of you. I'm not quite as slick as I am at my usual setup. I'm using my laptop. The sound is lovely. Oh, thank you, Fat Spicer. That's very kind of you. Is that Phil Phil Spicer? Is that Phil? Is that you, Phil? I'm trying to look at people's names and try and suss out whether which one of our regulars they are. Anyway, so let's get into it. So today is the 1st of August, as I've said, the day that the world economy takes a cricket bat to the head because of a certain orange goblin who wants to, Goblin King, not like a sexy Goblin King like David Bowie. We're talking about the Goblin King out of the Hobbit movie, the first one with the... Yeah, he wants you to stop talking about a very special billionaire paedophile friend of his. So today, we're gonna do what he wants. We're gonna stop talking about Epstein for 5 seconds and talk about these tariffs instead. But we might come back around again to Epstein later on because it's always worth a mention because it drives the MAGA lot nuts. There's a fantastic catalogue of tweets which I'll try and dig out, and it's got something that someone tweeted like two years ago about Epstein in the list, or 1 year ago, or even just a few days ago, and then the same user put another message up about Epstein saying, oh, forget about it, it's not important anymore. So they've gone from the first message was like, release the list now on, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, and all this kind of nonsense. And then now they're saying, oh, actually, no, we don't care about this. We're only pretending to care. We don't really care. And it's like... So anyway, so today we're going to be talking about tariffs, trade, lies, and distractions, and how Trump's economic idiocy is masking something far more sinister. So the new tariffs officially begin rolling out this week, technically August the 7th, but Canada gets whacked today with 35% for Canada. America's closest and most loyal trading partner is getting whacked with 35% tariffs on anything that's not NAFTA, what's it called now? Whatever NAFTA evolved into, it's the Canada, America, Mexico deal. Anything that's not covered by that is getting a 35% tariff on it. These are the most sweeping tariffs in modern history. The most likely illegal, by the way. He's not supposed to have the authority to do this, right? This goes back to, I think, the Magna Carta. Let's talk about the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta doesn't say that you're allowed to go to the pub. But what I think it did set out, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I always like being corrected. One of the things it set out was that it was up to Parliament to raise funds, to raise money. So if the king wanted to declare war on another country, the king had to ask Parliament's permission to do so effectively, because they had to say to Parliament, hey, I need to raise some money. Can you put a tax on something? Put a tax on beards. I think Peter the Great actually put a tax on beards once, because he thought that beards were like backwards, and he wanted a sort of Euro, looking at Europe, kind of Eurocentric Russia, proto-Russia, and he put a tax on beards. Anyway, so that idea that the leader, whether it's a king or a president or the general secretary or whatever the title is, can't just declare a new tax, can't just say, right, I'm going to raise this money this way and then I'm going to invade this cousin of mine that I don't like in another country. Hang on, that sounded wrong, didn't it? I mean, the cousin's country. And so that's been the case for 800 years. 800 years it's been like the norm, even in countries that sort of had absolutist monarchies. The king had to go to their equivalent of a parliament and said, can you raise some taxes, please? Because I want to go and do this thing. I want to build something. I want to spend 200 million on doing up the ballroom at the White House, which is something that Trump is doing. By the way, just as a little entry lesson into sort of how dictators work, you know the way Putin changed the constitution of Russia so that he can stay president for life? Yeah, well, Bukaki of El Salvador has just done the same thing. So he can now be president of El Salvador forever. For the rest of our lives, he's a bit younger than me, I think. So, at least the rest of my life, he's going to be the dictator of El Salvador. Great. Good mates with Trump. Yeah. Anyway, so what these tariffs do, because tariffs are taxes, let's not forget, they are taxes. Don't let anyone tell you they're not taxes. They're taxes like Texas is Texas. They are taxes like Texas, but spelled differently. Yeah, the fact that he's pushing these tariffs out onto people comes about because of an emergency bit of legislation from World War II, when, I don't know, Franklin D. Roosevelt was in power. As you know, it was just before World War II. Actually, it was in 1930, I think. It was like the Smoot-Hawley Act or something. I wasn't paying attention in Ferris Bueller class, and the Congress had just put on these mad tariffs, and when Roosevelt got elected, I think his first thing that he did, he changed the rules so that he could actually have a say on tariffs. So tariffs in America were like this sort of grey zone where all the taxes, and a tariff is a tax. It's a tax on when you buy some products from another country, you have to pay an extra 15%, 20%, 35% because it's from another country. It's a tax. That money goes to the government. That money is paid for by your own citizens, and it goes to the government. It's not paid for by the company that is bringing the stuff in. They pass that on to the consumers. Clearly, I mean, they're not just going to take a hit on that. They're not that stupid. So Trump knows that the people controlling Trump know that there's a bit of a legal grey area here, in that Trump can bring in these mad tariffs, and there's a question to ask whether Congress can actually stop him doing it. But here's another question: considering he got his big bastard bill through, why is he not taking this through Congress? Like, wouldn't that make more sense to take it through Congress? I keep getting told that he's not all powerful, but then everything he does seems to signify that he is actually all powerful. It's a bit like, when you watch a bad movie and you say that's a bad movie, and someone says, well, actually, and then they try and explain to you why it's a good movie, and you just can't get your head around it. Smoot-Hawley Act, Graham. Oh, thank you very much, one angry pagan. I was right. I thought the Magna Carta was King John being threatened by the barons. Yeah, it was. It also put in law that there is something above the king. There's the law. The king has to abide by the law. That came in with the Magna Carta. Not in Scotland, though, Graham. The king and Parliament had to get permission from the people first, mate. That's the thing. England took that from us too. Bastards. Sorry about that, Davey. I apologise on behalf of everyone from England. Justice doesn't work when the crooks make the law. That is very true. That is very true. So, these are the most sweeping tariffs in modern history. Meanwhile, Epstein's ghost is rattling the windows of Mar-a-Lago, and Trump's trying to change the subject. Did you hear that? Trump said, he said out loud through his face, he said that the issue with his issue with Epstein was that Epstein stole some of the underage girls that were working as doing massages at Mar-a-Lago. He said that out of his face. Anyway, moving on. So, a tariff is essentially a tax on exports. It means when you buy foreign goods, the government slaps on a price hike. Trump's new universal tariff system is not universal. It's selectively punitive. Countries that the US has a trade deal deficit with get a 15% minimum tariff. Those with no deal or special favour, it can go up to 41%. He's threatened Brazil with 50% tariffs because his mate Bolsonaro is currently going through the court system because he mounted an insurrection against his own parliament building. Well, not his personally, but his country's parliament building. Sound familiar? And Trump's like, well, I got away with that, so Bolsonaro should too. So there's 40 countries that have been hit by 15% or more tariffs. There's 26 countries hit with over 15%. Doesn't make any sense. So Libya has got 30% tariff on it. India has a 25% tariff. Switzerland 39% tariff, and Laos has got 40%. Canada's tariff goes up from 25% to 35%, and that doesn't even wait a week to kick in. That kicks in today. And transshipment cheats get an extra 40% slapped on top. This is totally arbitrary. And what he's talking about, transshipment cheats, is when you unload in another country and then you put the stuff onto another ship and pretend that it's come from that country when it actually hasn't. And there's another way of doing it, of doing the old transshipment concept, or kind of, which where you actually just make the product in a different country. And for years, this is what's been happening in Vietnam, with Chinese factories owned by Chinese companies have been manufacturing in Vietnam because they got a lower tariff rate than China. So it made sense for them to do stuff in there. This is just bizarre. It is a really bizarre situation that we find ourselves in. Trump has invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Like I said, this was something that I think came in the 1930s as a result of tariffs being brought in and it being a huge disaster, and it maybe not directly leading to the Great Depression, but it certainly exacerbated the situation with the Great Depression. And so that didn't happen again. Emergency powers were given to the president in case of the economy was going completely haywire and things needed to be done straight away, and they didn't have time to pass it through their parliament, through their Congress, which takes time, So this is Trump's saying that they have a national economic emergency, right? Just to remind everyone at home, America is the richest country in the world by a mile, by an absolute mile. And yet they're having an emergency based on what? Having a trade deficit. That's the issue, that they've got a trade deficit, and that means there's a national economic emergency going on. I mean, what? Just what? The US has run trade deficits for decades. It's not an emergency. It's capitalism. So yeah, who gets hurt and who gets paid? Well, ordinary Americans get hurt because the tariffs are just taxes on consumers. Price rises will be on everything from phones to shoes to food. Walmart, Procter & Gamble, Adidas, Unilever are all warning of price hikes. Global supply chains are going to be in the firing lines because companies are going to be forced to shift manufacturing, causing chaos and redundancies, and also causing a lot of money, extra expenditure, which is unnecessary, which means that will attack their profits, which means that they'll have to put their prices up even more for other people around the world, not just people in America, because we have to subsidize this madness. And poorer countries like Bangladesh and Vietnam will be squeezed to breaking point. And the thing is, like, US manufacturers are also being hit by this in a negative way because US factories still rely on parts, on like spare parts coming from, or not even spare parts, just they rely on foreign parts. So tariffs are going to hit them too. Car companies and tech giants are now paying far more for components, which is hurting their margins. Before I tell you who benefits, I'm just going to have a look at Maggie Pie's 20 Swedish krona. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you. I'll give you a little super chat animation. There you go. Hello. Thank you. I have a 100% trade deficit with the supermarket. Yeah, I know. That's how mad it is. Andrew Dixon says, sorry I'm late. Has Graham dropped the C or F bomb yet? No, I'm not in a position to today. I'm sorry. It's got to be a clean, family-friendly rant. I mean, I say rant. I was really upset yesterday, and I know it was a truncated show. It was a shorter show yesterday, But the fact that we have in this country people who want to emulate what Trump is doing in so many ways, and the people that that's going to affect are people that I know and love, just enrages me, absolutely enrages me. And when it came to the topic I was talking about yesterday, about a deaf researcher who had the research grant taken away, they were trying to find a cure for hearing loss. That affects me personally, and I should be getting that upset about tariffs, but it's hard because you just go, tariffs, economics, or whatever. And I know that that's the feeling that a lot of people have. I have that feeling. I can't get as emotionally involved. I find it difficult to muster up the empathy for like the world, because there's just too many people, there's too many things going on, there's too many countries, there's 8 billion people on this planet. I mean, I just can't. And that's bad, that's a bit shit. But at the same time, I understand that any economic downturn anywhere in the world means that it affects the poorest, the most vulnerable in society the most. You see in a country anywhere in the world where they have got a big economic crisis going on, you will see numbers of mental health issues, health issues in general, physical health issues as well, spike. They just skyrocket. The levels of poverty go up. The people who are poor become even poorer. And the people who are just barely keeping their heads above water end up living a much more desperate life. And so I should really be getting as upset about these tariffs, about what Trump is doing to the world economy, this punishing of other countries, this vendetta, his list of vengeance that Kamala Harris warned us about, his list of, not the Epstein list, we're not to mention the Epstein list. We've just got a load of gift memberships been dropped in by Andrew. Thank you so much, Andrew Dixon, 5122. Thanks, Andrew. That's really kind of you. Andrew has gifted 10 Politics Social gift memberships to Wheels Darren, to C Dizzy Dizzle, to IBZ Ann, to Ben Riddings, to Jennifer White, to Michael Warner, to LCG 820 220, to Dent Diz, and to Mad Monk 3356. You are now all members of the Politics Social channel. So congratulations, and thank you so much to Andrew for funding that. And I thank you so much. I don't know what I'm going to do about the credits, because obviously with everyone getting their at handle rather than their username, it's going to make. Am I going to have to redo all the? We'll have to see. But yeah, thank you very much for that, Andrew. That's very kind of you, and welcome new members. You should now be able to access the Discord server, which I need to sort out properly for everyone so we can have a play on it. But yeah, if you're having trouble accessing the Discord server, now you're a member. If you go into the, I don't know what they call it, the chat bit, not the chat bit, what is it? The post bit, the bit where I can post stuff on my channel here on Politics Social. There'll be a thing that says, here's your link to the Discord server. So please, if you're willing and able, please go across there and click on that link, and it should take you over there. If you're having trouble with it, let me know. Maybe not while I'm streaming though. Maybe go to grahamdavidhughes.com and use the contact box at the bottom. I did get a message just before started yesterday, but I didn't see it till afterwards for a link that I needed to share. I need to sort that out. I'll share that tonight on the show if I get a reminder to share it. Paul Ewan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's very kind of you. Did you see the Vattenfall Samuel Jackson advert? I saw a link for it, but I was just in a situation where I couldn't play back a video because I was in company. It would have been a bit rude. But yeah, I will watch it. Isn't it to do with climate change? And he's just kicking off about it. Yeah. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you so much for the £10 super chat. That's really, really kind of you. Thank you so much. America won't be the richest nation in the world for much longer. China is catching up fast. Trump's policies are making it poorer as well. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Paula. It was expected that China would overtake America in terms of GDP, which I know isn't a great way of recording how much wealth the country has, but in terms of GDP, it was due to overtake it a few years ago, but China kind of plateaued. It was going up in growth, and then the growth sort of, and obviously we've had COVID and everything else, and that date, the crossover date when the GDP of China overtook the GDP of America, that was pushed back to like the 2040s or even the 2050s. Now it's been brought right back. It's been brought right back. I mean, it's probably the next few years. I could see it happening before the end of this decade, to be honest with you. Okay, so we've also got another 5 Politics Social gift memberships that's been handed out by Viper Scott 1. Thank you, Viper Scott 1. That's very kind of you. So now Phil Nelson, Jenny Piers, maybe that is, and then, oh my God, Greg Razori Kaznowski, Greg Gorinsky, I'm probably saying that completely wrong. I'm sorry, my friend, but you are now a member of the channel. And Complex_UK. We've got Craig Finley, 9616. And we've got, that's it. That's everyone. So thank you very much to Viper Scott for that. Politics Social gift membership. Very, very kind of you. And next we've got Maggie Pie, who has dropped a 50 Swedish krona into the Super Chat Fund. Thank you so much. Does REFOC have a zero tolerance policy against racism, or have they just given up? The Swedish Democrats do on paper, but they never run out of them. On paper, I suppose they do have that, but no, they have a lot of tolerance for racism. And thanks very much, Maggie Pie, for that. Viper Scott, thank you very much. Graham, you can change it, complain to YouTube, they can sort it back. Other channels have done that. Good luck, Alistair. Oh, thanks very much, Alistair. That's also Viper Scott is Alistair. Thank you, Alistair. I'll try and get it changed back. Someone was saying that this was because of the new laws that are brought in the UK, and then it's not. This is international, and it's been going on for a month. They've been moving everyone across. Obviously, we got our movements across on Wednesday, which isn't great. But, we do what we can. I second that emotion, says Al. Yes. Super Tansy's vlog yesterday was amazing and succinct. First time me hearing class holes. Thanks, Tan. That was great. It was really good. She's not been so good recently. She's not been so well, so it's been difficult for her to make content. So hopefully she's coming back. She's coming back. Because she always does really, really good stuff. Okay, let's get back onto the main topic. So I was talking about the people who are losing out, which is everyone, except, as always, as with austerity, as with Brexit, as with COVID, as with Truss's mini budget, the people who are benefiting from this are the rich. So, what are the massive exemptions? Trump's cronies, energy, weapons, defense, Trump's donors. So also Trump affiliated companies get carve-outs as well. So America First is more like America's billionaires first. Thank you very much. It's like that old saying, if you voted for Brexit, you're either an idiot or a millionaire. Check your bank account to see which one you are. So, market reactions so far today. We're seeing the Asia Pacific markets have tanked overnight. The KOSPI, just before we came online, are down to 3.2%. Nikkei is down in Japan, down 0.6%, and Taiwan and Australia also falling. Europe is bracing for the ripple effects of this. Germany's export-heavy economy is especially vulnerable. And, these alliances that America has built up over generations are now being strained. The allies of America are being punished more than anybody else. Canada, EU, Japan, South Korea. And the UK barely avoided higher tariffs only because Starmer made a tit of himself and kissed the ring because he felt he had to. And I get it. I understand why he felt he had to do that. But, the EU and India are now looking to deepen ties with each other and cut the US out entirely. I often say, I'd hate to have Starmer's job because I just couldn't be nice to these dickheads like Netanyahu and Trump. They're egomaniacal, genocidal maniacs. I couldn't be nice to them. There's a standoff with China. The trade talks in Stockholm have remained unresolved. China controls rare earth minerals and key supply chains. And obviously, China being China, retaliatory tariffs are coming. They're not going to bend down and kiss the ring. They don't need to. They're big enough. And they've been dealing with stupid Trump tariffs for a long time now because Trump brought them in against China a long time ago. And Biden left them in place. And the global chip industry is bracing for escalation, which is going to cause ructions everywhere. And then we've got the inflation and recession fears. Prices go up, demand goes down. The Oxford Economics have warned about lower growth in Germany and the US, and it may spark recessions in smaller export-reliant countries, making them unstable. And when you have instability and you have more poverty, you have more people turning to crime. And once you have more people turning to crime, it's a lot easier to get yourself a gang of terrorists to go and destroy people's lives in other countries. So not good for anyone. Not good for anyone. There are legal challenges underway, as I've mentioned. The Court of International Trade has already ruled that Trump has overstepped. Trump is appealing, but judges appear skeptical. Get the word out, Graham. They appear skeptical. And this International Emergency Powers Act that Trump is referring to, the law doesn't actually mention tariffs. And declaring this a national emergency to bypass Congress is just pure authoritarianism. And if he gets away with this, it sets a precedent for future presidents to rule by decree on economic matters, which is the thing that we haven't been allowed to do in this country, in the UK, for 800 years. Just when it comes to economic matters, you're not supposed to be able to rule by decree. And corporations can't plan ahead, allies can't trust the USA, and democracy takes another hit because who also does well when in times of economic free fall? The populist authoritarians like Farage and people like that who say things like, "Oh, only I can fix it. Only I can fix it." How many times are we going to hear that before we realise, we just slap ourselves out of the reverie? Only I can fix it. Only me. It's just, yeah. But then again, why is Trump doing this? Why is he doing this, right? He says he's bringing jobs back to America. He's been saying that for 10 years, but manufacturing has continued to decline because it's more expensive to make stuff in America than in other countries. And even when the people in China are getting paid the same amount as the workers in America, it's going to make no difference because the rare earth minerals that they need to make the products are going to be in China. So it's going to be cheaper for things to be made in China just because of economic gravity. It's cheaper to make stuff where the stuff is. And also China has made huge inroads into Africa, which America has not. And although America does have substantial mineral deposits of its own, I mean, it's got a lot of lithium, actually, America. It's not always an easy to reach places. The reason why they can't mine the levels of lithium that they get from places like Botswana or Bolivia is just water. They can't. The deposits are in the middle of a desert, and you need loads of water to mine lithium, and they just don't. They just can't get the water there. Lots of places are running out of water now because of climate change. We have just got a super chat in from Yuri Nymphectinov. Thank you very much. Presidential precedents present Graham Boosh. Very good. I like that. Thank you very much for that, Yuri. And thanks very much for the £2 super chat. Norway has found massive mineral reserves, says Aaron N. Gray. Oh, lithium is dead easy to get at. Yeah, I was reading something a while ago about the fact that we've got lithium in the old tin mines down in Cornwall, and it could be a boom for a boon. A boon or a boom. It could be a lithium boom for Cornwall to revive some of those old mines. But there's a part of me that goes, I don't really want people to have to go down there and do that shit again. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a horrible job. And when we think of lithium mining in places like Botswana or Bolivia, it's open air. It's not like there's some guy with a pickaxe in a cave pretending to be Gimli. Do you know what I mean? It's open air. It's the Sala, the Uni salt plains in Bolivia. It's a case of getting the lithium from the top, not digging down to get it necessarily. Lithium was significant in Back to Reality classic Red Dwarf episode. Back to Reality. That was good. Was Back to Reality the one where... Because they did it... They recycled a few of the sort of tropes, didn't they, in Back to the Future? Back to Reality. In Red Dwarf, they had Better Than Life, didn't they, in Season 2, where it turned out they were playing a game, and then Back to Reality... It turned out they were playing a game. A virtual reality game. But yeah. Limpet Mines. So they got rid of the despair squid, wasn't it? Or something. Okay, so it wasn't a game. Back to Reality, they thought they were playing a game, and the game was Red Dwarf, right? But then it was the despair squid. Okay. It was a long time ago. Come on. Help me out here. Follow the money, following the money, following the money, following the money following, says Aaron, something like that. Anyway, it is a boom already happening. Most of our lithium is in the clay. It's open cast in our tin mined. That's cheap. Also coming back. Okay, cool, Reverend. That's good to know, Reverend Kathy. From Cornwall. Yeah, good. As long as I sort of just bristle a little bit when I hear about people having to do these really, really horrific, dangerous jobs like coal mining. I'm glad that we don't have any coal mining in Britain anymore. I'm really glad that that doesn't exist as a job. And I know that it's shit for the coal mining communities, not least of where I live in Durham, where I live in an old pit village where there's not much to do because there's no pit anymore. Yeah, there was no... That the government should have stepped in and spent a lot of money retraining coal miners and regenerating these communities for another industry, a cleaner, safer industry where people lived beyond the age of 43. But that never happened. So I'm sad about that. I'm sad that never happened, but I'm very glad that we aren't sending young lads down mines anymore in the UK, and I wish we weren't doing it anywhere in the world because it's a horrible job, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Well, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I say that, but actually, if Nigel Farage wanted to take the plunge, I wouldn't get in his way. Finland are building sand batteries for energy storage and distribution. Really interesting video on Cleo Abrams' channel. That's from Fat Spicer. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, there's some interesting concepts, especially with sand, heating up sand, because it holds heat for a long time. I mean, the simplest way that I can see from an engineering standpoint for the UK for energy storage, and I've said this before on this show, is just building new reservoirs. You build two reservoirs, one higher than the other, And during the day, you have like wind turbines nearby, and that uses the water pumps to pump up to the upper um, reservoir, which also gets fed by the rain as well. And when we need a bit more extra energy, we open the sluice gates effectively. I know they're called something else. And that turns turbines coming from the higher reservoir to the lower reservoir. And we could have a few of them along the Pennines. They could also help with the water shortages that we're having because we've not built any new reservoirs for a long time. And it's a great way of storing energy. It's a fantastic way of storing energy, just gravity fed water. It can turn those turbines. Does the poor seem to take the rap and the rich escape? Yeah, Plum Duff, you're absolutely right. That's the way it works. Nuclear fusion using plasma that's not dangerous to people or the environment is what we need. That's type 1 civilization power source. Yeah, but we're nowhere near it, Mrs. Calm or Mr. Scam. Sorry, Mr. Scam. I'm guessing that's Scamsdale. We're told that it's just around the corner. I've been told that's just around the corner since I was a kid. Same with hydrogen-powered bloody cars and shit. It's just been around the corner. It's been around, along with the perpetual motion machine and the refilling beer mug. I just don't think it's going to happen. And if it did, it would be wonderful. But the amount of kit that you need, the amount of energy you need to put in to make it happen. Don't forget, it happens in the sun under tremendous forces, and we're still not quite au fait with how it all works. Or at least I'm not. But I'm aware that the gravitational forces at the centre of the sun is such that it can fuse hydrogen atoms together to form helium and other heavier atoms. And I get that. I can get my head around that. But then trying to replicate that same process on Earth just looks like absolute. It looks insanely difficult. I'm not saying that we shouldn't invest in research into nuclear fusion. I think we absolutely should. But at the same time, we have stuff now that works. We have hydroelectric, geothermal, wind power, tidal power, and solar power. And those five are complete. And we've got nuclear power, nuclear fission. Those main five are enough. If we plan our energy needs sufficiently for the next 50 years, 100 years, 200, 1,000 years, right? If we look ahead and say, right, what are our energy needs going to be for our population, which I don't think needs to grow much anymore. I think we need to start looking at ways to make sure that when we invite people over with visas, which is fair enough, I have no problem with immigration, it's something where we go, okay, we get to like 70 million and then we say, okay, let's leave it at that. Let's try and sustain our population at 70 million. The only reason why the same people who were whinging about overpopulation a few years ago are now moaning about underpopulation is because of racism, because they think, oh no, there'll be fewer white people and there'll be more brown people. Yeah, so what? Still people. What's your problem? Oh, but they've got delicious food. Okay. But yeah, the other reason that they sort of give is that they have, I guess, along with racism, is capitalism, because the stupid way that we run things through capitalism is things have to make more of a profit every year. They can't just make 5% profit every year. Every year they have to make more and more and more profit, because that's capitalism. And I find that insane, because you're looking for unlimited growth on a planet of limited resources. Although, could be argued that when it comes to the wind, when it comes to the sun, that's kind of unlimited, as far as we're concerned, for the next X many million years. What of the more interesting... One of the more interesting fusion projects out there is Helios, says Joanna. Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're right. I think there are interesting... there are definitely interesting projects out there that are looking at this technology, and if we do crack it, yeah, it will be amazing. But here's another thing, right? Solar power is dead cheap, right? Dead cheap, right? You can just set up a solar panel anywhere. You can set it on tropical islands. You can set it up in, up a mountain in Scotland. It'll work. Solar power, we know it works. It's great, and it's cheap, and poorer countries can afford it. What will happen is if we continue down the route that we're going down now, where we're trying to burn as much, carboniferous slime as possible, on our way to a future where everything's going to be powered by hydrogen and fusion somehow. If we continue on that route, when we do reach the point where we can fuel everything using hydrogen and fusion, poorer countries are going to be left behind, like massively. At the moment, poorer countries can afford wind turbines. They can afford solar panels. More so solar panels than wind turbines, because obviously wind turbines take a little bit of engineering, but solar panels, you can pick them up pretty cheaply. You're seeing them being sold in places like China for like £20 a panel. £20 a panel. Put it on your roof of your house, you got lights all night. Buy yourself a car battery to plug it into, store the energy. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's very kind of you. We already have several batteries of the type you described called pump storage, including one that Carol Vorderman worked on as an engineer. Finding sites for more is extremely difficult. Oh, that's interesting, Paula. Why is it difficult? Is that more to do with the fact that there's vast swathes of land that are privately owned in the UK, and we can only use stuff that's publicly owned, and the only stuff that's publicly owned is usually an area of special scientific interest? Is that it? Is that the problem? Is it a legal problem, or is it a geographical problem? Do we have a geographical problem of locating these halfway up the Pennines? Please let me know in the chat. Electricity Mountain. That's cool. Hi. The Helios approach also solves the tritium problem in a way. So anyway, let's get back to the main topic we're talking about, because I'm gonna finish in about 13 minutes. I'm not doing the paper review today. Why is Trump really doing this, right? So yeah, like he said, he says he's bringing it back. He's bringing jobs back to America. He's not. And most tariffs do nothing to change where goods are produced. They just raise the prices of the goods. Economic gravity. Economic gravity always wins, sang Radiohead. Kinda. There's an election coming next year, midterms, and tariffs let Trump appear to be tough while doing nothing real. We're sticking it to China. Okay, they're taxing American consumers, but Trump and the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, and all the dickhead bastard Nazi scum that are backing him they know that the people who vote for Trump are thick as pig shit, and so that's how they win, because they know that it's going to increase prices, but the feeling of sticking one to China is going to be worth more to those people who can no longer afford to buy, $30 for their child for Christmas, like loads of people buy $30 for their kids. They can just buy $2, said Trump. Let them eat cake. Let them have $2. But they know that their base, the people who vote, the people who are so stupid that they vote for Trump and they vote for the Republicans time and time again, even though they live in a shack in a swamp. They know that when the prices go up, they already have the people that Trump can blame. Immigrants, foreigners, trans women. That's it. You just watch. They're going to blame it all on those minority group. Well, I suppose foreigners aren't a minority group, but they're going to blame it on the perpetual other, and that's why your prices have gone up. And we've seen this with Brexit. We've seen this in the UK, and it works. It absolutely works. You talk to a Brexiteer, ask them why a pint of lager is £6.50, £6.80 in like a little pub in Durham. Why is it £6.80? And they will lie to you, to your face, and say it's because of COVID, when they know it's not because of COVID. Because you can buy some beer in France or some cerveza in Spain for like buttons in comparison, even in a really nice place. So yeah, I mean, I think from an electoral standpoint, if Trump wants to make gains in the midterms, I think, yeah, this is the way to do it, unfortunately, because of the undereducation of Americans and the misinformation and disinformation that's out there. I mean, blue-collar voters aren't going to see the factories reopening, you know, but they might get rebate checks. So, you know, bribery is always good. Good old bit of pork barrel politics here. Kirsty, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Kirsty, that's really, really kind of you. Thank you so much, my friend from the Brexit wars. Please donate to the Good Law Project and stick it to Starmer and Trump fighting the EHRC for trans rights. Thanks so much for that, Kirsty. And it's worth pointing out that Labour have appointed yet another transphobe to be the leader of the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, to take over from Baroness Faulkner, who's a transphobe, later in the year, or I think it's the start of next year. I think it's the 1st of January they take the post. Good, that, isn't it? Well, no, I'm being sarcastic. Clearly it's not good. Is the boogie an immigrant? Asks Reverend Kathy. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat, Kathy. Is the boogie an immigrant? Blame it on the boogie. Yes, maybe. Graham, they would rather see others being treated hatefully than do everything to make the situation better, than do anything to make the situation better for them. Hence, red states poorest in education and health. They do not invest. Yeah, they also take money, don't they? They also take a lot of money from the blue states. Paula Thomas says it's geographical. You have to find a hill that has particular characteristics with a flat top that you can build a lake on, and a flat area down lower that has room for the second lake. Okay, cool. I thought Graham said the midterms wouldn't happen. I don't think they'll be free and fair. I doubt they will happen. Normally, I want to say, like, if they do take place, because there are elections in Russia, right? But it's so, like, scam. The whole thing's a scam. Like, they're not free and fair elections. And I think, like, if they do have midterm elections in America, Trump will only allow it if it looks like he's going to win. If the Republicans are going to win some more seats in the House of Representatives and the Senate. If it looks like they're going to win more seats, he'll allow it. If it doesn't, he won't. If it looks like they're going to win more seats, or maybe they're going to win more seats, he's going to go nuts on making sure that certain states aren't allowed to vote, certain electors aren't allowed to respond, certain votes will be disregarded, as they very well might have been in the last election, by the way. There are areas in America, there are wards, or whatever they call them in America, they don't call them wards, but, you know, electoral areas where no one voted for Kamala Harris. No one, not a single vote for Kamala Harris. It's really, really dodgy, like some of the stuff that's gone on. And if it had been Trump, like, who had lost, and this kind of thing had gone on, and there'd been a district where nobody had voted for Trump, do you think he'll be keeping quiet about it? Do you think he'll be, you know, retiring into the good night and saying, oh, well, never mind? Yeah. One angry pagan, I would say it's also an environmental problem, Graham, at least in part. They have to properly consider the damage done to potential ecosystems when constructing the reservoirs. Well, I mean, you know, when do we ever give a shit about potential ecosystems when we're building a city or an airport or another frickin' motorway or having a... Sorry, I just kicked my table. Better shake it all up, baby. Or when they are deciding that, you know, anyone who's got a car deserves the right to be able to park right outside where they want to go. Right outside. There should be a God-given right to anyone with a car. I'm not going to get into this on this show, but I want to do a whole show about how stupid cars are. They do my head in. Yeah, everyone who gets in the car just turns into a baby. Just turns into a big baby. They're like this. Carry me! I can't be bothered using my own legs. Carry me! I don't understand why When people go to Glastonbury, they're happy to park 10 miles away and walk with a tent and all their camping equipment and their big funny tent, big funny flag, right? And then camp and then walk for the whole time they're at the festival. For 5 days, they walk everywhere. Why are they prepared to do that? But like, you have to be able to park outside Woolworths. What, you're buying a lot of pick and mix? Is that the plan? You got to buy a shitload of pick. Do you need a little forklift to drop it into your car? Like, no one goes to DIY shops in city centres anymore. You go to the outside park and retail place. Okay, cool. Let's change the way we look at city centres. They're falling apart because of the cars that are everywhere. So they're not pleasant places to be. They're places that people go because they have to be there. So just pedestrianise them. Just pedestrianise them. Put cafes everywhere. Have bands playing in the streets. Have, buskers. Have magic and life and colour. Bars and people, not cars. Make it somewhere people go, oh, well, let's go into town. It's really nice. Instead of, let's go into town and avoid cars. Anyway, I've got a whole rant on this, which I'm going to save for another day. But, cars. I realise I've got a VW on my top here while I'm saying this. Yes, it's fine if you want to go camping, but don't expect to necessarily, camp in the middle of a city and put your car next to where you're camping. Anyway, so the political play here is this, the fact that they're playing the game of getting Americans on board by basically lying to them, and then when the inevitable happens and things end up costing them more, they will already have ready response to say, like we do with Brexit, no, it wasn't Brexit that caused that prices to go up massively. It was COVID. It was Liz Truss. It was Liz Truss to a certain extent. But it's people coming across on boats. It's trans women. That's who's causing all these problems. But this is a bit of a distraction at the end of the day. Epstein, the story that Trump doesn't really want trending at the moment. I mean, the Wall Street Journal published the birthday card last week. And, there's been renewed focus on Trump's name in the Epstein files. And this is something that cuts through to the other side, because normally we'll do a funny meme or something. It's only us that are laughing at it. It's only us that are calling Trump a liar and a rapist and a gobshite. The other side don't really get involved too much. The people who actually vote for him, they go, oh no, we love him. We don't care what he's done. But this seems to have actually caused a little chink in the armour of Donald Trump. A little crack. And that allows the daylight through, I guess. The grand jury records possibly unsealed soon, which I don't know if is a good idea, by the way, because it will expose people who were involved in the grand jury to possible issues. While everyone's talking about trade deals, no one's talking about Epstein's Island or teenage girls or the powerful people who went there all the time, or the fact that Trump said that the reason he fell out with Epstein was because Epstein kept stealing his underage masseurs. The tariffs aren't really a solid economic policy. This is just political propaganda. It's not economic policy, political propaganda. Liberation Day all over again, which triggered in April, triggered financial panic and markets crashing, trade chaos, and tariffs passed. Tariffs that were passed were paused just hours after the implementation. And then Trump set the new deadline, which is today, but even that's been pushed back for most countries to the 7th, because Trump always chickens out. And the core policy, punitive tariffs based on trade deficits and who is on trial in a given country. These are not just about economic revenge, it's about political revenge as well. That remains, and Trump's brinkmanship keeps the markets jittery. Trump stays in control. He can tell his mates when he's going to change his mind, and then they buy the dip, and then the prices go up, and then they make loads of money. They make billions. This economic war plays well with his base, who don't understand that they're actually the victims of it, and uncertainty is the point. And this is all political theatre. It's pantomime. It's kafabe. Still don't know how to pronounce that. It's economic WrestleMania. That's what it is. And we've seen there's rumours that Trump, there's rumours that Epstein's death wasn't a suicide, and footage came out, and it was obviously doctored. It was missing. It had been edited 3 times. It was missing a crucial minute at midnight. I just, yeah. Trump's plan is to flood the zone, isn't it, with bullshit every day, so we forget about the bullshit from yesterday, which is why we need to keep mentioning Epstein, because, like I say, kind of cuts through. But before we go, I just want to talk quickly about what this means for Britain and what we can do. So Starmer's signed a deal with Trump. It fell on the floor, hilariously. That keeps the UK tariffs at 10% for now, but it's temporary, flimsy, and comes with strings attached, like energy imports. Trump has shown he'll punish allies on a whim, so Canada's 35% tariff today, for instance, and post-Brexit UK has much less leverage than it has before, and we're just kind of dangling at the moment. We're not part of the EU, not part of a strong trading bloc, and we're just waiting for the next the next tantrum to come from a corrupt authoritarian who lives thousands of miles away. Great, what a great system. So what we can do is, first of all, resist the narrative. I mean, keep Epstein's name trending, and support journalists who are digging into Trump's crimes. If you're American, pressure Congress to override these tariffs. If you're British, demand that Starmer doesn't roll over. We need real protections against lunatics around the world making the prices of things going up. I mean, we did that to ourselves, stupidly. But one of the things that drives me up the wall about carboniferous, I don't think that's the correct term, but carbon-based, that means organic, doesn't it? So carboniferous slime that we use to power our machines in this country. That concept of that thing, like, think about this for a moment. Because we're so addicted to oil, it means that when a tin pot dictator of a country thousands of miles away decides on a whim to invade their neighbour, the price of us travelling anywhere, the prices of us heating our homes goes up. Is that the maddest thing? The people who talk about sovereignty the most, like your Farages of the world, they're the most quiet. They're the most quiet on this particular part of it, which is energy sovereignty. That's what I want. I want energy sovereignty. I want us making our own energy and using it, and it being delivered to everyone at the speed of light. Ms. Paula Thomas, stealing is a horrible choice of concepts here, has echoes of slavery. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was referring to in that. I'm sorry if I made a bad porno joke or something. Sorry about that. Trump is obvious mental decline. Says one Angry Pagan. Yeah, indeed. Scott was here. I hate this name change things. Both of mine are the same, thankfully, says Hating Puds. But it seems a lot of folks aren't. Yeah, exactly. Well, mine's coming up as great in politics now. Stay vigilant. And also, one of the things that I often say on this is, like, support people who make content. People who make content that you like. Just support them by watching it. Just watch it. That's all you need to do. In fact, just click on it and walk away if you don't want to. If you've got better things to do, just give them those clicks. Just give them the likes. Just help feed the algorithm. And before I go, please give us a like on here. I'll just say that Trump's tariffs are economic poison. They're legally dubious and politically motivated. They hurt workers, damage alliances, and raise prices for no gain whatsoever. And they just so happen to dominate the headlines the very week that new Epstein allegations emerge. Funny that, isn't it? And history won't remember this as an economic strategy. It'll just remember it as distraction theatre, staged by a desperate man with far too many skeletons and too many billionaires to protect. So that's it for Morning Brew today. I'll be back at 1 o'clock with Phil Morehouse for the agenda, and I'll be back again at 9:30 this evening for the Friday night social. So please join us for that. Thanks so much for the super chats. Really appreciate them coming in and continue to come in while I wasn't here. So thanks very much for doing that for us. And until next time, I will say thank you so much for watching. And until 1 o'clock or 9:30, or maybe next week, I'll say hello, Good evening, welcome, and goodbye.